Hi guys, how are you? Today I'm here. Very glad. Okay, this is Kai Santos for who don't know me, and today I'm here with a huge comic book creator. He made the Flinstones, wrote Not All Robots that were recently published in Brazil. Okay, and I'm here with Mark Russel. How are you, sir?
Doing good, doing good. How are you?
I'm great. We're pretending that we didn't chat yet, but okay. So, Mr. Russell, the first question is always the same. Who are you?
Who am I? I consider myself to be a writer, although I primarily work on comic books now. And I think you've already mentioned some of my best known titles. I've written the Flintstones. I've
Yeah.
written Snagglepuss. I've written Not All Robots. I'm doing Superman Space Age with Mike Allred. So yeah, I guess I would just describe myself as a writer, but you probably know me from your listeners probably know me from my work in comics.
Yeah, perfect. So, okay, the first question is basic, but this is the true first question. That is to start. I'd like to chat about the Flintstones and comic that you wrote for DC Comics. And well, I grew up, watching the Flintstones rerun, and I really loved it. So, what were your relation with this cartoon, and what's the importance of it in your life?
Well, the Flintstones to me represent what I would watch when I came home from school. Like when I
Yeah,
would come home
yeah.
from school as a kid, the Flintstones were on TV, so I watched it, and I didn't remember a whole lot about it other than the opening intro, which is still the best part usually of any Flintstones episode. But one of the things that really struck me as a kid watching the Flintstones was the animal appliances. How
Yeah,
they had a pig living under the sink,
yeah,
or like a vacuum cleaner, like an anteater vacuum cleaner that lived in the closet, or even worse, a tiny bird that lived inside a camera. And I remember just being horrified by that when I was a kid, thinking that that little
yeah,
bird is inside his camera all the time until someone decides to take a picture.
yeah,
Then it comes out and chisels a picture, and it goes back into this camera for God knows how long.
yeah,
And I remember as a kid just thinking that was it seemed like really subversive commentary, or just really dark vision of the past to me. So as an adult, when I got the chance to write the Flintstones, I wanted that to be one of the main things I wrote about was the life of these animal appliances.
yeah. Yeah, perfect. And I bet it's very difficult to make a comic book of characters that mark the childhood of so many people, and at the same time put social criticism, like exacerbate consumerism, in the second history that you made, and still put an air of nostalgia. So, how was your experience in this, in this comic? Like, it was challenging.
Yeah, it was very challenging, but I think it helped by whenever I face a project I think is challenging, I have to ask myself, what is it that I really like about this? What is
Yeah,
it that I love about it? And then I just build whatever I'm going to write around that. And for me, with the Flintstones, what I really loved about the idea was that it was the story of the world's first civilization.
yeah,
So I wanted to write sort of my critique of civilization through the Flintstones,
yeah,
as if all the problems we have now were started by bedrock. And the biggest single problem I think that confronts civilization, or that like leads to all a lot of the crimes and atrocities in civilization, is how we've managed to reduce each other from human beings to economic functions.
yeah.
So, even though bowling ball and vacuum cleaner are personalities, and they have their own hopes and desires, to the Flintstones, they're
Yeah.
just bowling ball and vacuum cleaner. And even though Fred Flintstone is a human being with with his own dreams, to Mr. Slate, he's just a guy who works in the quarry. And so I think most of the evil in the world is a result of the fact that we've managed to just reduce each other to these roles.
Yes. Yeah, perfect. And what other characters from your childhood would you like to work with?
Oh, you know what? I really would like to. I think I would love to work more with the Hanna Barbera universe.
Yeah,
Maybe do a Jetsons thing. Uh, Also, maybe a like a Huckleberry Hound
yeah,
comic. Also, I really like the when I was a kid, my favorite cartoon was Super Friends about the
Yeah, of
Justice
course.
League, and so I always love working with those characters too. I'm writing a Superman series now with Mike Allred on the art, Laura Allred on the colors, and it was a dream come true to me because it's a character I've always wanted to write.
Yeah, I think that I don't know, Super Twins comic made by you would be
Yeah,
nice, or Space Ghost.
right. No, I did. I've done a Wonder Twins comic.
Oh,
Yeah,
I didn't
yeah, I
know.
wrote 12 issues of Wonder Twins, but yeah, it was largely based upon my love of the Super Friends and wanting to update it, wanting
Okay.
to. The Wonder Twins are basically what I wrote in the Wonder Twins is basically like if I could write a comic for myself when I was 17 years old, or
Yeah.
this is what it would have been. But yeah, it was a perfect example of me writing about a character that I had a childhood attachment to.
Yeah, perfect. And now leaving the past and going to the future, let's talk about not all robots. I really the sci-fi vibe and this Blade Runner vibe. And apparently a lot of people like it too because after all of this, this comic was very successful around the world. As you made it, did you imagine how big this comic could become?
I mean, I feel like all my comics, I'm doing my best, and I feel like there's a readership out there for it. But I did not foresee how
Yeah.
the success that Not All Robots would have, and I think a big part of its success is owed to Mike Deodato, the artist, because he brings such dynamic realism
Yeah.
to it that it makes the dystopian elements of Not All Robots feel that much more real. And I think it also makes the humor feel that much darker because these people look like real people, and they're people that we sort of can
Yeah.
identify with.
Yeah.
So the lines I think become that much that much more humorous as a result. But yeah, I'm really happy that it's found an audience, that people are reading it, because it was the hardest pitch I've ever had to get published. Nobody seemed to want to publish Not All Robots until I took it
Yeah.
to AWA.
Oh, and how were your main inspirations in this comic? Of I don't know, books mostly, or movies?
Well, it started out as, I had this idea years ago, but it started out as robots as a metaphor for toxic masculinity, like about
Yeah.
men feeling like they're the victims when they have everything, when they have all the jobs, they have all the money, and they the privilege of society, but still somehow managing to feel like they're the victims.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what the robots are. They are they have all the jobs, they control all the money, they're basically running civilization, and yet they still feel like they're oppressed by the fact that they have to
Yeah.
support these human families. But what I what occurred to me is that the reason that that people feel this way, and even when it's not entirely justified, and the reason why we take it out on each other, is because again we have been reduced to economic functions, and so the robots feel frustrated not because of anything the humans are doing, but because they're having to deal with the pressure of working for a job that is just waiting to replace them
Yeah.
with a newer model. And I think that's the sort of psychological weight that we all deal with that causes us to turn on each other. The idea that we are all replaceable, and as soon as they can get rid of us, they will, and that makes us sort of devalue each other.
Yeah, perfect. And sir, now I have a last question. Okay, so this last question was sent by Von Deus, who watched the my channel, and he sent this question. I will say what he said. I have a question. I would like to know from him how he balances the use of humor and social criticism, which he does very well, without falling into the traps that these social themes can through authors these days. Does he have any systematization, like the subject I can touch, or better to take it easy here or here? There's something like this.
Well, there's a quote that I use a lot in my when I'm thinking about writing humor and social commentary, by George Saunders, and he said that humor is the truth faster than you expected it.
Yeah.
And that's kind of my guiding post. It's like, I really am not trying to be funny. I'm just trying to say what I think is true as bluntly as I can. And if you try to like say the truth as bluntly in as few words as you can, it somehow becomes funny.
Yeah.
And so I worry more about like saying what it is I want to say, less about being funny. But ironically, that's what makes it funny.
Yeah. I don't know. Today, the word is so fiction, you know, and looks like fiction. That is funny because there's a lot of things that you see around the world and think, okay, how is this happening in 2022? You know, and
yeah, the world is like a self-parody at this point. It almost feels like we're living in a matrix or something, because somebody's messing with us, because there are things that are so stupid I would not have imagined that they could ever happen, yet here we are.
It's almost a movie, you know, like I don't know, from Monty Python, Mike Python or something like that. So okay, that's it, sir. These were the questions. For who don't know you, what are your social medias, where they can find you, buy your stuff?
Well, I'm on social media. I'm mostly on Twitter. So they can follow me at Manruss, MANRUSS. And I'm on Instagram too with the same handle, although my Instagram is mostly just pictures of my cat. But yeah, that's where I am most of the time, on social media.
Perfect. So let's go, guys. Let's follow him. So Mark Russel, thank you so much. I love your work, and I really hope to see you in Brazil someday.
I would love to come to Brazil anytime.
It would be nice, you and Mike Deodato and some table in some convention.
Yeah, no, we should do like the I don't know. I think he's in Sao Paulo. So maybe a con down there in Sao Paulo would be great.
Yeah, we have a convention that is the CCXP Comic Con Experience, which is the biggest Comic Con in Brazil, you know. So it would be nice. I will talk to the organizer of this convention.
Well, I'd appreciate that. Maybe I'll contact him too and let him know I'm available.
Yeah, that's great. Mr. Russell, thanks so much, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and that's it. Like this video and subscribe.
Thank you, Kyle.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, everybody.